I do want to talk about something a little different from the career education. Today, 1 out of every 3 workers needs a state-approved license, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. It's amazing the President, in his most recent budget, is also talking of some of the concerns addressed there. The report highlighted that state-based occupational licensure are a powerful drag on employment and the economy because they act as barriers into job markets that otherwise would be accessible to individuals with low skills, little experience and education, or entrepreneurs with limited capital. As governor, you've explored Indiana's licensure policies. I guess I'd ask that as a question. Have you explored, and to what level have you explored licensure policies, and whether reforms are needed in your state and significantly other states as well to watch and guard against those impediments to jobs and employment?
Well, thank you, Congressman. And I would tell you it's been an issue of our administration from the outset. We are in our second, what we call long session of our General Assembly. Our budget session happens every 2 years, but in my first long session 2 years ago, we proffered legislation that would reform our licensing process. We continue to work in that category. I can appreciate 2 aspects of this. Number one is I do believe that, and that statistic speaks for itself, that 1 in 3 require some licensing.
It used to be 1 in 20.
And I think we need to think very, very carefully as a state, and I encourage national policy leaders to think about this as a nation, about when licensing, which presumably exists for the purpose of protecting the public, identifying men and women who have the background and the experience to be in the occupation that they're in, that when that in fact becomes a barrier to entry for people into a particular profession. And in the state of Indiana, we've taken up that issue. We're in consultation with our General Assembly in this session on it as well. But I stipulate that your point that while I think in many professions licensing can be of great service to the public so that people can know and understand, I do find myself more drawn to the principle of associations and private associations having the ability to certify and recognize in some cases people within their profession that they recognize. That would serve the public interest without adding another layer of bureaucracy or additional barriers to entry. But it's an issue we're working on. I would say it's a work in progress in Indiana, but it's very much on our radar screen.
I appreciate that. Mr. Greenblatt, as a former steel worker myself and a son of a machinist, tool, and die maker, I identify with your concerns of being a manufacturer that's going forward aggressively, that's achieving, but now you need help. Let me ask you this question. How do we raise the profile and respect of vocational skills education so that it is seen as academic as well as vocational?
Dollars, money. The average American manufacturing worker makes over 70 grand a year. Over 95% of us pay health insurance. We have generous vacation, 401k plans in general.